single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Okay. Hello.
Hello,
I don't know
Stacy.
why I thought you were a girl. Like, for some reason, when I was talking to you, I was convinced I was talking to a woman. I'm so sorry. I had no idea I was talking to a man. Hi. Not
Okay.
that it matters. I just thought it was going to be some girl energy, but it's all good. No problem. Hi.
Okay. Well, I'm a
Thank you for
therapist, so
asking me to do this.
no, it's a pleasure. I'm a therapist, so I do like to listen and talk. So don't worry, it will be almost like a girly talk.
Okay.
So
Okay. It's
y-
fine. Hi. It's
yeah,
funny because sometimes you're like, okay, you have this idea of someone that you text or talk to.
yeah.
Sometimes you think it's like an old man or old lady or whatever. You know what I mean? And you see the person, it's like, you're nothing like I imagine.
Oh Lord, that's the first time.
Right? But it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It's fine. Hi.
I've over the past 2 years, I've interviewed close to 80 from Elder Barge to SWV. Sinise, I'm almost losing count. When I told my wife that I'm interviewing you, she almost freaked out. My wife has
Are
not
you
wanted to.
serious?
She has not wanted to. I've told her about everyone from Blackstreet. Nope, doesn't bother her. And I
That is
said,
so nice. So you have to bring her. Is she around? You have to come say
well,
hi.
I'm gonna wake her up because she's asleep.
Okay.
And the reason
Okay.
is that and I didn't even make the connection. So we're here in England. So X Factor started here in England.
Oh, right.
So
Yes, of
we
course.
remember a long time ago watching your audition. I completely had forgotten. And then
Yes.
so I knew you from Ex-Girlfriend. I was all over my head. And then when I did
Yeah.
this research and saw that, and I showed my wife, I said, remember this stuff? And she says, look, I watch her audition once a week, even till now. That
Are you serious?
if I'm feeling
Are you
uninspired, if
serious?
I'm feeling
Okay, don't make
uninspired,
me cry. Oh my
if I'm
God.
feeling
How sweet is
uninspired,
that?
and if I'm feeling I'm gonna give up, then I'd watch what Stacy said about Simon. I don't want this music to die in me, and then power
Oh
through.
my
And
God.
so if we
How
relocate
powerful
to
is it?
Australia, I am going to blame you because that's my wife's dream. And I'm like, so, and she says, Stacy is my motivation. So,
That is so cute. I love that. And I'm going to tell you, that's why I do what I do. That's why I sing, and that's why I speak out. And I've over the years, especially these last couple of years, I've become more I want to inspire people. I started a nonprofit organization, and we fed over 150,000 meals, and we partner with other companies who've fed millions of meals, Feeding America and other companies. And it's about that. And when you say that, I say, then my purpose is being fulfilled. So thank you for telling me that, because that really moves me. That moves me because that's what I want to do. Like, I literally have chills because it's definitely my prayer to create that effect on women, especially obviously men too, but I have a heart for women, as I am one who's been on a hard journey in my life, who that journey stopped being hard about 4 or 5 years ago, when I met my life partner who changed my life. And it took having someone strong come in my life and partner with me and remind me of how powerful I am, and took away a lot of the rough edges from what life had sort of taken me through. And so my full intention and my command in life for myself and my affirmations are that I create great effects on people, and that my artistry impinges on people in such a great way that it inspires them to be great, and I help people through my art form. So hearing that from you is so encouraging. It means that my work is being done.
yeah, no,
And
definitely.
that's really, it's a blessing to hear that. So thank you for telling me that. And by the way, I love London. I lived in London for a few years, and I love London. It's really beautiful. I lived
Yeah.
in Canary Wharf for a long time.
Okay, Canary Wharf. Yeah, that's our Wall Street now. That's our sort of our Wall Street right
Yeah,
now.
that's your Wall Street. Yeah.
But then what is the
Yeah, it was
talk?
that way when I was there.
Yeah, but talk about the
Sorry.
your charity organization. So at least we could probably just
Okay.
understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I have a nonprofit organization. It's called the Stacy Francis Music Arts and Education Foundation. And we started this organization. We started the work of it in 2020, but it became a full 501c3 in 2021. But I went to Cape Town. I served
Wow.
meals to schools, a school there that was only open for food incentive for children to come to school and eat twice a day. And obviously with COVID, the school shut down and the school still needed the support to feed the children. So I actually went to Cape Town and I served meals to them. We served just in 1 week, we did 3,000 meals for that community.
Wow.
But overall, we've done about 150,000 meals. I did a project called, I did a song called We Stand Together, which is up for a Grammy. And basically that song was in partnership with a company here in America called American Power and Gas. And they had partnered with Feeding America. And at this point, they fed millions of people. But my organization came in and we fed Brooklyn. So, because obviously I'm from Brooklyn. So I went back to Brooklyn, which is also parts of it are a food desert as well. So I went back and I fed there as well. So you can go to the stacyfrancisfoundation.com and see pictures of our work. You can donate there. And we contribute to the arts. I contribute to artists. And, education is big. Obviously, it's so important for children to be well fed so that they can get an education. It's hard to learn and focus and really for your IQ to increase when you're hungry, right?
Yeah.
Or sleepy or tired or dirty. Unfortunately, I didn't, when I named my nonprofit, it was to support schools and to come in to help and maybe educate them in the arts. But we actually got pulled in the direction of feeding kids. Wow. And it was because these schools and these poor children needed, food. And so it's been quite the journey. It was in what I expected. But it's been a blessing.
Yeah. I mean, I see pictures of your partner who is he an artist or
he's a phenomenal artist.
Okay.
He's a phenomenal artist. He's a fine arts painter. And he actually will be at Art Miami this week. The biggest show in North America is called Art Basel, and we'll be down there showing his pieces. He was there last year as well. He went to the Verona Arts Academy in Italy, and he's a phenomenal artist. He does, he actually, honestly, in ninth grade, he was painting anatomy and models, and models came to the school, and he's just a phenomenal artist as well. So yes, he is. I'll have to tell him that you mentioned him in this interview.
No, I think the reason is that because you mentioned that he's how shaped and changed and inspired and what would you think he brought to your life? Because most of us from the outside would look at a New York girl and think, oh, you guys are tough and strong and stuff. But what is it that he would have brought in that really sort of changed and shaped you to where you are now?
Well, he is European, and he brings in that Italian flair. And so that has helped me. I had somebody post on a Facebook the other day. I posted a picture of us at an event together, and he was like, "Oh, you're looking more and more Italian every day." He's like rubbing off. And yeah, I did spend a lot of years being a little more tough and a little more angry than I really would choose to, with disappointments in my career, in my life, or just not really learning how to handle life the way that I wanted to. And I did go through life many times by myself. Yeah. And so when I was actually living in London, I wrote down a list I asked my daughter, I was like, don't you want a daddy? And she was like, because she's very spoiled. And she was like, no, I like it. I like it with just us. And I was like, well, he could carry our luggage, I just started, I was like, he could make you some macaroni and cheese, he could, so she was like, oh, she starts like, he can go with us to Disney World, So she started to brighten up, and literally 2 months later, I met Alex. And when you say, what happened, he's just a really gentle guy. He's super gentle, and he's very, very logical. And we communicate we over communicate. When there's some lack of communication, obviously this as and the work that you're doing, a lot of people are just really upset with their partners. And sometimes it's just a miscommunication or misunderstanding. And so he and I, we over communicate. We have a commitment to not ever go to bed angry with each other, you know, which is very, very rare anyway that we get angry. But I like having a man in my house. Like, I just like that. Like, I like being a wife and a mom and a, you know, and a girlfriend and a, you know, all those things that are labeled in a household, right? As for a woman, what she's supposed to do. And so him coming into my life and sort of having that position, I don't have a hard time with that. I know some women would be like, oh girl, you know, old women unite. And that's fine. I love the family structure, and I love that he gives me advice that is healthy for me and very constructive, and it leads toward my greatest good. And I trust him, you know? And so that was validating. You know, it's very validating when you have a man in your life or a woman in your life who supports your goals and dreams, who, you know, who accepts every part of you, you know, because obviously I'm very strong. I do have a strong opinion, and I'm very opinionated. That's not changed. But he's accepted that in me, and he makes me feel safe in being that girl, you know, and because of that, it makes me want to make him comfortable and take his advice, because I trust that he is going to lead me down the right path.
Wow.
You know, so there.
Yeah. Well, I don't want my wife to hear this, because she's going to then put more pressure on me to reform. And I'm hearing everything that she tells me, and I'm like, oh man.
It's funny. That's so funny, because I think that women, honestly, I do believe that women would be more willing to listen to the advice of a man if they trust their man, if they trust that they know that their future is safe with him and they feel safe. I mean, we just want to be safe, you know. And so it's not hard when it goes there, but it is kind of hard to find a guy that makes you feel that way, because sometimes it's not even about the guy. Sometimes it's about the woman, where she is in her life. Like, is she in a place where she is willing to trust a person? Because sometimes, based on her past experience and her past relationships, she doesn't trust very easily, because people have betrayed her too often. So fortunately, I had done a lot of work in this area on myself, spiritually and emotionally. So by the time he came into my life, I was able to trust him.
Okay.
You know, and that's where the individuality comes in to this. You have to work on yourself and be willing to look at yourself. And I feel like a lot of times people don't want to take responsibility for the effects that they create. And that was something that I really had to do as well. Like, you can't always play victim, you know. You can be a victim, but you can't always be in that position. You have to, at some point, take over and decide that you're not a victim anymore.
I think as a therapist, one of the struggles I have is that people from our community, Black, whether it's Africans or Americans or Black British, don't feel therapy is for them. We rather go talk to our friend, pastor in church, or our neighbor, but we will not get professional help. And part of my platform is to try and promote mental health and wellness, and the fact that it is not a stigma, it should no longer be a stigma within our community. And hearing you talk about working on yourself, I would did you get therapy as well, or was it other types of help that might have helped you through your journey?
I got a lot of help from my church. Okay. And I took courses, and I did things that I just needed to take more responsibility. And I think, like, it's difficult. I don't put any labels on. This is a very touchy conversation, because I do know that people have to be willing to take responsibility for their actions. And I think, like, sometimes people are in so much pain, it's hard to do that. and they don't know where to turn to seek that help. You know, I grew up in a Christian church, and that was where you went to sort of lay your problems down, right? We sort of live in a different era now, you know, where there's all these mental health options, you know, and you just have to be careful and know where you're looking. And I think when you say our community is a little reserved when it comes to mental health, is because again, it goes back to betrayal, you know, and how we have been betrayed in the past by you know, certain industries. So I think that's the thing. I think, but there's so many options now. Like, you know, I remember, speaking of X Factor, I remember feeling so broken and feeling, so many people say, well, how did you decide to do the X Factor? Well, I remember feeling so broken, and I remember making a decision that I wanted to sing again, and I wanted to just really get out there and do it, right? And I started doing affirmations and, you know, speaking into my existence, the things that I wanted to happen, you know, and I always suggest that for people to just speak positively, think positive thoughts about yourself, you know. So I remember writing down that I wanted to meet Simon Cowell. I want to sing for Simon, and you'll love this because you're from the UK. So I was like a couple of years too old when American Idol started. And he was on this show called American Idol here in America. I did not know about the X Factor. A lot of people didn't know about the X Factor in America. At the point where I found out about X Factor, I think it had been in the UK for 15 years.
Yeah.
And so I have a friend, because I did a show in the West End called My Mom Went to Sing. I was the star of the show. Did you ever hear that show in the West End?
No,
okay,
no.
It played at the Gielgud. It played at the Gielgud Theater on Shaftesbury Avenue.
Wow.
And I played in another theater in Covent Garden, the Covent Garden Theater there, I think it was the Cambridge Theater. So I lived in London for a year doing that show. And I had a lot of fans from the UK, and one particular who had seen the show about 36 times, a British lady. She lives in Essex. And so she and her daughter at the time would come to the show, and they were big, big fans of mine. And so we always stayed in touch. And during the time of the X Factor, before it came to America, when Simon quit American Idol, it was rumored that he was going to do a show called X Factor. And I was like, what is that? And my friend from the UK was like, this show is massive. Go to YouTube and see. And honestly, Americans had no idea about this show, really.
Yeah.
So, and at that point, like I said, it had been on TV for 15 years in the UK. So I was like, oh my goodness. Okay. So I saw it, and then I found out about Susan Boyle, and then the fact that there was no age range. And like, you know, I was like, oh my goodness, I have got to look and see what this show is about. And so I kept Googling X Factor. My friend in the UK kept Googling X Factor USA. When was it coming? And then it finally came up on a website that when the auditions were. And I wrote down, I want to meet Simon Cowell. I want to sing for him. I want him to give me a standing ovation. I want to win the X Factor in America. I mean, I wrote down all this stuff, and I put his picture on my wall. Wow. And at the time, I was listening to the CD series called Your Wish Is Your Command. And it was by Kevin Trudeau. And I remember all the steps he was talking about, like being healthy, taking vitamins, you know, don't eat a lot of sugar, like keeping yourself healthy, because you emanate the ability to create your reality through your mind, you know, and that we're energetic beings, and what it takes to create your reality, right? And I was like, okay, this sounds cool. I'm just going to listen to this, and I'm going to put my attention on meeting Simon. And I did that in February, and I promise you, I was standing in front of Simon in May. Like, it was that magical.
Wow.
So now, fast forward to getting on the show, and like, just, it was so stressful. I had a 5-month-old baby.
Is that your daughter that you were talking about now?
Yeah, she's going to be 12.
Oh, so that's a 5 year.
She was 5 months old in the audition. If you look at the audition, she was 5 months old.
Yeah.
I had postpartum depression. I was breastfeeding. I was getting attacked online. Like, people love me, and then there were like some people obviously that hate you, and I was just like, there was like thousands and thousands of tweets of, oh my God, she was amazing, and it could be like that one tweet that's like, she sucks, and I was like,
and that's what you
right,
gravitate to, yeah.
Right. And I just now, like, I just wish I had Alex in my life at that time, because I was really by myself with my kids, and I was a single mom, and I just couldn't take it. Like, it was so heavy. And then And because my energy of I'm going to win, I know it's going to be amazing, I can do it, because it then changed to fear and, oh my God, do I suck? Am I okay? Then I lost, because now I'm manifesting that I'm not good and that I won't win, right? So I bring all of that up to say, when you talk about people that don't feel good about themselves, you are creating that in your life every day. That you don't feel good about yourself is the product of your reality. You know what I mean? So taking vitamins, getting an hour of sleep, and I can't even think anymore about the past and what happened to me. And I lost my AirPods. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay. It's don't stay so stuck in the past. And it's like, oh, that's so easy to say. It just makes me so angry that this happened to me or that happened to me. But I just urge people all the time to have good conversations with yourself, and the things you say about yourself, make sure it's positive. Listen to positive music. Stop looking at the media. Stop looking at negative, influences on social media. I had to stop. Like, honestly, I used to love reality shows. Like, I was even on one. I was on X Factor, and then I was on another one like a few years later. I don't even watch them anymore. Like, I love the beautiful girls that I see on those shows. They're like really pretty, and maybe I'll go to their Instagram pages just to see what they're wearing and stuff. But I can't even watch it anymore, because I was realizing that it was really changing my own energy. My vibration that I was giving out into the world needed to change. You know what I mean? My mindset needed to change. So I had to stop listening to that. And I had to stop going to the things that were trending, that were negative. And I started putting into my life and into my space more positive music, more positive people around me. If I was attracting really awful things happening to me, I think to myself, what am I thinking that brought this into my reality? And let me change my mind. I love taking B1 vitamins, because the B vitamins are really good for mood. And so I take B1, and I'm just really into healthy living, and working out is a really great therapy. You know what I mean? So I just feel like there's so many things we can do. I'm not saying, I'm not urging people to go see a therapist, but I do know that if you don't want to go see a therapist, there's a lot of things you can do on your own to change your life, and I don't discourage it. I just want to leave that there. But I do encourage people to work on themselves. And if they have an apprehension of going to see a therapist, then if you come up with that sort of mindset, it's hard to change it. And not that anything is so wrong with that. Just make sure you are doing something to make yourself feel good. That's because mental health is very important. It is super, super important. It's something that we all as a society have to think about, education and the IQ, your own personal IQ, and how smart you are and how aware you are, and what are you doing to make your environment and your world that you're creating around you, what are you doing to make it better? How are you helping people? All of those things are very critical.
Yeah, and as I said, we in my service, in my team, I'm the only black male therapist across my county, and so there's not enough representation. So there's lack of trust, and there's a strong sense of resilience, because our parents had to deal with a lot. So they're like, look, man, you have to work
we're very
twice as hard.
resilient. We're very resilient people. I mean, you got to give it to us. I understand that.
And so, but the big thing I always try and encourage is to talk to people who are non-judgmental. So when you do share, even if you go to church or go to a community or go to your coach, as long as they're going to listen and not be judgmental about you, and so you can feel safe and learn to talk. So that's the biggest thing for me, is always is to be able to do that, as opposed to having to go to see a professional therapist, is just to talk to people who are not going to judge you or pull you down.
That's very smart. That's smart advice.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you did say that I caught on was about the fact that you mentioned how you went from being that confident to that change to sort of fear, because when you sang Purple Rain, it was almost like, okay, yep, might as well rip up it up. She's pretty much won this thing. Summertime, you were just singing. But then we started to notice halfway through that the song choices had changed, and so are you saying that you just started to feel, was it a pressure that people saw you as a favorite, or were you getting one or two people against you that really affected you? What do you think changed for you?
Well, first of all, I just want to make it clear that, and this is not something that was publicized because it's not, but I want to make it very clear that after Purple Rain, I no longer chose my own songs.
Oh, we were wondering why because we were saying, oh, why is she picking that song? Because you seem to have known during auditions what songs to pick, because it was good for your voice. And then we noticed that the songs were like, wow, that's what's going on.
I was begging for different song choices. I was begging for songs like Whitney Houston songs, Celine Dion songs, or Aretha Franklin songs. I was begging for those songs. I've even had asked for Michael Jackson, the Earth song, because Michael Jackson's mom had reached out to someone that I knew and asked that, and said that she was a fan of mine. And so I put the producers in touch with his mom. And I got eliminated the week before they did Michael Jackson week. And the song that I told them that I wanted to sing for her, they gave to Melanie Amaro.
Wow.
Okay, so there's a lot of things that go on in the background that kill your spirit, that kill you, that break your heart, because you can't go out into the public and say it, because you're like, okay, I can't tweet right now that this is not my song choice because I'm in the middle of the competition.
Yeah.
Right. And then when you get off the show, it's too late. Right. Yeah. So those things did occur. I didn't pick the songs. I was begging for an in-ear monitor so that I could hear myself. And they refused to give me an in-ear monitor. So then I would sing off key because I couldn't hear the music and I couldn't hear my vocals. And I was being set up to lose.
That's
okay.
Yeah.
So I spoke to a producer after, like maybe about 2 months after I saw him on a walk. I was on Runyon Canyon, this famous canyon in LA. I was taking a hike, and he was like, Stacy, we know how to get a winner. The audience can vote for this person, but we know how to get them, because basically we'll give most popular songs to the person that we want to win. And then the audience is voting for the song. They're subconsciously voting for the song. Not even the singer. They're really voting for the song because they love the song so much, right? The singer obviously is great, don't get me wrong, but if you sing a song that everybody loves, then it's going to be easy to get the vote. Okay. So when I'm in the middle of the competition and that kind of thing is happening, it definitely breaks you, because you know that you're being set up to lose. You know that you're being set up to, because also another point is it's the judges' competition. Simon Cowell is not going to come to America for the first season of X Factor and lose the competition. It's his competition, right?
But are they aware of what the producers are doing? Or do you think that the judges?
The judges, of course. Of course. So it's not about that. Let's switch topics off that. But when you talk about that occurring, and then there's leaks going on backstage and being twisted to the press. Like there was an article that was written like something like I was a diva or something, which wasn't true. I didn't have any of that happen. So again, the audience loves her. She can win this, but do we want her to win it? So let's give her songs. Let's give her an outfit that is not great. I mean, I look at some of the clothes I was in, I'm like, this is crazy, so, you know what I mean? So, and it takes such a toll on you psychologically. And when you have people like, oh, she lied about her past. And that's the other thing. It was like, look, I was saying that as a solo artist, I never had my big break. This is a solo artist, which was true. I had put out my own demo. It's called the six or seven songs I had paid for myself for an album called My Soulful Side that I had produced. It wasn't through a label or anything. So when I put that out, I didn't even consider that as like an album. And then when I went public and it was like, I never got a record deal. It was like, oh, she's lying, because I was on a record deal with Warner Brothers with a girl group, right? But my point was, I wasn't a household name when I came on the X Factor. I wasn't Whitney Houston. I wasn't Mariah Carey. I wasn't Beyonce. So to turn it around and say, oh, she lied about her career was very interesting, because then you have that. Then you have people saying, oh, she's a liar. She lied about her career. You know what I mean? Like, it was so many things that I didn't have protection. I didn't have a publicist. I didn't have a manager. I just didn't have those things in place. So, you know, it was pretty hard. It took a hard hit on me. And so the effects of that for the next maybe 2 or 3 years after was just hit after hit after hit, you know? And so that sort of answers, I hope that answers your question.
So what do you end up doing after? Because I think for most of us, when we watch the show and we then think about those who don't get the deals, what does life after a massive show, everyone sees you, knows your name? Are you expecting, are doors opening and people calling up, hey, come on, let's give you a record deal, let's send you on tour? Or what's life after?
I mean, you do have certain, I did do some shows. I did have some opportunities. And like, you know, I was telling someone yesterday in an interview, X Factor revamped my career. It was really awesome because it took, here's someone who in the 90s who started on Broadway, who, you know, I had 2 albums on Warner Brothers. I never had my own solo album, right, or career in the way that I wanted to yet. But it did help me revamp my career, because now you have 18, 19, 20-year-olds that know Stacy Francis, who back in the 90s would not have known me because there was no internet, right? So now it's like, oh, she's on the X Factor. So in that way, it was definitely helpful. So I even got shows, like people asked me to come sing Purple Rain because I was still a big one that people love.
yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So in that way, the exposure that you get on a platform like that is just priceless. I couldn't pay for that kind of publicity. You know, it's just like for 20 million people to hear me sing for 3 months in a row, it's priceless. Yeah. You know what I mean? So in that way, it was cool.
Okay. I mean, how I normally start this is I always, because I get an international audience, and so it'd be great just to start off with where you were born and raised, because it helps tell the story of Stacy Francis. So where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. And I went to a performing arts sort of high school. So I started singing in church at a very young age. I thought I started singing at 4, but my mother tells me I was singing as young as 2 years old. So I was singing in the choir all my young life. And then I did musicals in high school. And so at 16, I got my first professional job in the show that I mentioned to you called Mama I Want to Sing. And then later on, I was brought to London to star in that show alongside Shaka Khan.
Oh, how old were you then?
And we did that. I was 24.
Okay, so this was before Ex-Girlfriend. You were doing the shows.
No, it was actually after I got signed to Ex-Girlfriend when I was 17.
Okay. So you were singing in high school. So how did you then get into? Because I think some of how did you get into? How did that happen? I mean, and actually, I guess when you were singing at that young age, what was your dreams and ambition?
So yeah, right. Let me clear it up. So at 16, I got Mama Want to Sing, the show in New York. Okay. So they had a show in New York that was running in New York. So at 16, I was in the show in New York. I was starring in that show. And then I left and I did the Ex-Girlfriend thing. And then when they went to London, I went to London as a star as well. So just to sort of put that together. So what was your question? I'm sorry.
So but as a 16-year-old and even 15-year-old, did you was being in music and entertainment, was that your dream, or did you stumble across it?
It's so funny you asked that question because people are always like, oh, did you grow up with the brush in your hand singing in front of the mirror? And I didn't. I was just sort of like growing up in church singing like literally every day. I grew up in the brownstone building in Brooklyn where the church was like on the bottom and we lived on the top, So it's
Okay.
like I was always in church. And so I was singing in church and I was always in choir rehearsal and, prayer meetings, just like part of my DNA.
Ah,
And so in high school, I started getting these plays and I was like, oh, this is fun, So I think by the time I got to like 13, I remember seeing Mama Wanna Sing when I was 13 years old. We went with the church, took us on this church trip to see it. And I remember being up in the balcony and looking down at the stage and thinking to myself, I could do that. And I remember that moment so precisely when I thought like I could actually do this part, right? And again, it goes back to the manifesting thing and speaking things into existence because 3 years later, my friend called me and he was like, they're having auditions for that show. You gotta audition for this show. And I was like, what? I don't know. So I went to the audition and I booked it. And then it was just like, okay. And then I stayed in that. And like I said, I got an ex-girlfriend from there because someone introduced me to someone else and I got the audition and then I went to LA and Benny Medina, who's the manager for Jennifer Lopez now, he signed me in the group to Warner Brothers at that time. And then we did 2 albums with them.
okay. Because as I said, when we started, most of the of our community kept talking about, oh, you have to, ex-girlfriend doesn't get enough prop, because back in the day, you guys,
Ex-girlfriend was epic.
Yeah,
Ex-girlfriend was epic.
But as I said, but when because you guys did come out of the gates, both singing, dancing, you had the whole thing.
Yeah.
But when but I think other groups like SWV and Jade and stuff sort of
TLC.
Yeah, towards the mid and later 90s got a lot of the push, and so that's why a lot of people still remember and still have affection for you. So, when you joined the group and you had Full Force as producers, because we've known them from the 80s and into 90s. What was it like being a solo person now joining a group who had been around together for a while? Because I know they were called Petite and they were together. So how was it joining into a group of girls who've known each other and you're the new one?
Yeah, it was hard at first, but they really welcomed me. They loved my singing. And I don't want to say I was too shy, but I think I was just a little bit too insecure to think that I could go have my own solo career. So it was like perfect because I felt like, okay, I'll be on stage with other people, and it was fun. It was easy. I thought, okay, so they're already set up to do their thing and I'll just come in with them. But it was hard because they did have a history, the 3 of them. They did have like that time together and there was some resentment, not toward me, but toward the fact that the other girl that I replaced, that she had messed up because they really wanted her, as part of their dream, because it was their dream that they had for so many years. But unfortunately, they had to get rid of her. So that was a little bit hard. But they did welcome me and they were very, very excited that I came in and I gave them vocally what they were looking for. So in that sense, sorry, go ahead.
Please go ahead.
No, I was saying in that sense, it was a really nice blend. We became a family immediately.
Did you join them before being discovered by Full Force, or how was the timeline?
No, Full Force was at the audition. They had Full Force had already signed them, and they were already on their way. And this girl messed up, and it's not for me to tell her story. Unfortunately, they had to let her go. Yeah. And so they held these auditions to look for a new girl. And I came to the audition.
Wow. And what did they see in you that they thought, okay,
it's
Stacy
so funny because I'll never forget. I see the room right now in my mind. It's so funny because I remember singing and Bow-Legged Lou immediately saying, that's it. Okay. The auditions are over. And they were like, no. Yeah. He literally said that like right after I said, he was like, okay, this is the one. And they were like, no, we need to talk about it. And, it was so funny. And then everybody started laughing. And it was because, you know, at audition, you're not supposed to just get your
Yeah,
answer
yeah,
like
yeah.
this. Like people say, okay, thank you, we'll call you. And he was like, okay, this, we're good. And I was just like, oh my
Wow.
God. So yeah, he was very funny about that. As soon as I finished singing, it was like, yeah, this is it. You know, I was like, okay. So I immediately booked it right on the spot.
My goodness. And so, wow. So,
Yeah.
and then you guys go into, I mean, you know, you guys, I mean, so were you used to dancing? Because you guys were, I
Yeah.
don't think people give a credit for the fact that Ex-Girlfriend did amazing
Yeah.
choreography as well as singing. And was that
Thank
a hard
you.
thing for you guys to?
That's so sweet. I'm so hard. I feel so like good in my heart that you remember that because we worked 10 hours a day.
Wow.
They made us dance 10 out. Monica, her name was one of the girls in the group. Her name was Monica. She was like, we got to get this. We got to get this. We're going to sing and we're going to dance. Right. And it was like, she was a great dancer. And Tisha was too. So it was their goal to make us stand out from the rest by being able to really, really sing and dance. So we're like jumping over each other's heads and
Yeah.
playing double dutch. And, you know, if you look at one of our music videos right now, you see us like jumping double dutch and jumping over each other's heads. And I broke my ankle and I still went on tour. Like,
Wow.
so yeah, we definitely, someone said yesterday in an interview that I did, you were definitely before your time. And I agree. I think Ex-Girlfriend was definitely before its time. It was, you know, the music was incredible, very danceable songs and really great singing, great harmonies. And we 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, we were dancing and getting ready for those shows. So wherever we walked on the stage, it was pretty powerful. It was
Yeah.
pretty powerful stuff.
I mean, because you know the groups that we all know about New Edition, but Troop to a lot of us were amazing dancers who could sing, and they gave New Edition a run for their money. It's just that they had the unfortunate situation with their record label and stuff, which stunted their growth. But they were amazing dancers, and so anytime they were in Arsenio Hall, they're doing their routines and singing. You guys were the female versions of that, doing the dance steps. I remember seeing you guys on Soul Train, and you jumping around and singing again, picking up the stuff, and that was not easy because most girl groups were not doing that to that extent. So that was one of the hard things that we saw. You know, but for yourself, was that stuff that came easy, or was it like, wow, I need to get up to because it's not easy to dance then get back into singing.
Right. No, it's true. I mean, I think what happens is obviously it's like working out. You know, the first album, I was a little chubby. And then I was just like, okay, I need to work this out. And then I started training and, you know, because obviously when you're working and dancing that hard, the weight starts to drop off. And they made me into a dancer. I mean, I had a little dance training, like in the 8th and 9th grade, I was doing some dancing, but they made me into a dancer. And they always worked around me to make sure and with me so that I could really, really drill it in.
Oh,
and
like Johnny Gill,
whatever I couldn't do, like, yeah, absolutely. And it was so funny because like if I had to sing a really big note, they just be around me making me look good, you know.
You're the female Johnny Gill. That's it. Rick says now.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so funny to use that correlation because the girls love New Edition. I mean, they did a whole tribute.
Yeah,
Petite did a whole tribute song to New Edition. Yeah. So it's funny that you used them as a correlation because it's definitely who they wanted to emulate as a female version. And, you know, I remember Warner Brothers at one point, because En Vogue was doing really well, they were like, we just want you guys to, you know, be a little more like sexy. And we were like, nah, we just gonna stay in our, like, we're gonna stay in these jeans and combat boots and keep dancing around the stage.
It's funny you mentioned En Vogue because people will say,
wait, sorry, say it again. Okay, right. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's funny you mentioned.
What are you going to say about En Vogue?
No, it's funny you mentioned En Vogue because when I said to the community, I'm going to interview Stacy from Mexico, and they said, "Yeah, what happened with the beef with En Vogue? Was there a battle with En Vogue, with Ex-Girlfriend and En Vogue, or was there name callings or anything?" Okay.
No way. We never had any beef with En Vogue. You know, people how they like to make up stuff. They want to make some kind of drama. We never even met them.
Okay.
I don't remember meeting. I remember meeting Cindy and the other one. But we never, like, if we saw them, maybe we saw them at a show, but it was never like any friendship or any moment for us to even have a beef.
Okay.
No, I think people wanted to create some drama because they like to create the girl group drama, and they like to say, "Oh, girl groups don't do well together," and all the stuff that they say. But we never, no, we never had beef with them.
Okay.
I was a very big fan of it. I'll tell you a really funny story. So my song was like, I think we had like a #3 song on Billboard or something. And my friend had just gotten a job at Arista Records, and she was doing like this meeting, this press release party with TLC. I was like, I'm coming up to the label. She was like, okay. So I came up to the label, and it was like all for the record label executives and stuff to just do some press stuff with TLC. I think they had some people coming in, but it was really for like the executives to sort of just get to know TLC and sort of brainstorm about it. So I walked in and I'm like, can you sign this? And I would never forget Chili looking at me and go, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm your fan. Like, I'm a fan. We started laughing so hard because people expected there to be some rivalry there. But I was a massive fan of TLC. I'm still good friends with Lily from SWV, massive fan of SWV. So that you always hear like people want to make out this negative thing, but I was a massive fan of Cindy from En Vogue. And when I met her, I told her that. So outside of that, I think maybe we saw them during a show maybe once. But outside of that, we never saw En Vogue now.
Okay. Well, because you guys were different. Why don't you come home? Now why don't you come home and you do your little moves?
Yeah, I love that you know the songs. That's so cute. That is amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
funny.
What was it like for your first album, working with Full Force? Because they, as producers, a lot of people forget that they were, apart from Lisa and Cult Jam, they did a lot of stuff with Backstreet Boys and Sync and all this stuff. But when they were producing you guys, what was it like being with?
Yeah, they work really well as a team. Each person wears like a different hat. Like Jerry does the tracks really, and then like Paul does like the lyrics. You know what I mean? Like he helped us with our vocals and our harmonies and stuff. So everybody in the group sort of wears a different hat. Brian, they all come together at the end of the song and have their input, but really while we were working together, we kind of knew like if we had a track consideration, we'd go to this one. So it was a pretty cool thing. It was hard because you're at this point in my career, wearing a business hat, I would never go into a deal like that because it's just like too many people. It's just too many people, it's just too many people getting paid out of one song, So, but I would say genuinely from my heart that it was a really great experience, and working with them. When you listen to the music, you hear so much talent in the whole family. When you think about Full Force and the singers, it was such a talented team of people making really great music.
Yeah. So the second album, I think X Marks the Spot, you had an R. Kelly song.
No, X Marks the Spot.
Sorry, X Marks the
Spot is the first album, and a woman's thing.
It's a woman's thing. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
You had You For Me, which for most of us, I don't think anyone knows that R. Kelly did that. So because so I'm saying to myself, you've got an R. Kelly is the biggest writer producer at the time. Anything he touches goes to platinum. But that song just went under the radar, and I'm thinking, there must be something other than, because it's not the song. It must be that they didn't push it. What was your thinking about the second album, about why your second album didn't blow up, and especially having a single from R. Kelly?
Whew. You're pushing a lot of buttons. Okay. I think it's very self-explanatory when you get into when you have an album on a big label and you have a big producer like that and a song doesn't really fly, then you obviously know that there's legal things that are going on in the background that people have just not worked out. It's like there's no reason that song wasn't like one of the biggest songs in the world. That should be the song that we're still touring on right now, 30 years later, right? But it's not, and it's because there were too many hands in the pot. That's all I could say. I mean, it's just pretty obvious without me having to say it that something went on with the paperwork or with the logistics of that record, because R. Kelly at the time was at the top of his career. It was around the time, I think, when he was doing like I Believe I Can Fly, like all these massive hits. And so that's why we went to him for a record. I remember my lawyer was like, look, we need to go to somebody that's got a big hit record right now and have them write for you. And we did. We fought for that. And at the end of it, it just didn't go anywhere. And it was because we just didn't have the push from label. Because, okay, yeah, I feel like I'm dropping bombs here, just background stuff like I did with X Factor. Okay, so basically it was Warner Brothers, Reprise, the label Reprise through Warner Brothers, and then Forceful Records. So we weren't signed to Reprise Warner Brothers. We were signed to Forceful Records, who was signed to Reprise, who has a thing through Warner Brothers, right? So it's just like all these vias that we as young girls, when you sign on a record deal at 17 years old, you're not thinking about any of that. You're just thinking, I want to go sing. Yeah. And so you get screwed. You know, we all came from the ghettos. We didn't come from, you know, families that had lawyers in them that was like, here, you can sign this and you're going to sign this. You're not going to sign this album because this is a horrible deal that you're signing. We just want to go sing, you know? So that was pretty much what happened with us. We didn't have protection and we just signed really bad deals. And so when you look at so many songs on those albums that should have gone really, really well, unfortunately they didn't, because we just, and I would love it to do a conversation with Lou or Paul one day from Full Force, because I'm sure there's things that I don't know, because I know for sure in my heart, deep in my heart, I feel that they did care about us. To have us sign contracts like that, it's just a little bit baffling to me even today. So some of the questions you would have to ask them personally, because honestly, I'm just as confused as everyone else why that would occur.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, yeah. Because it was a R. Kelly record. We went to Soul Train and performed it. And, you know, at the time, anything that R. Kelly at the time was touching was turning to gold.
Yeah. I mean, I did interview Lou about a year ago, but well, it's almost 2.5 hours, but actually he got in touch with me just a week ago, but as I said, and unfortunately I didn't make the connection at the time. But I think a lot of, because as I mentioned, a lot of my guests, even from Elderbar, they've all talked about how the labels and politics and if they don't push, if there's stuff happening, they would just drop the ball, and it's like, you know, this is a problem we just don't want to deal with. So that's right. But but we what we do in halftime jazz celebrate, as opposed to try and dig out dirt and pull anyone down. But as I say, a lot of us were so shocked with such a powerful track and the album and the energy you girls had, especially when the 90s was for the groups and for when R&B was at its core. And then you had other groups like SWV and stuff all coming up and going from one strength to another. And so, okay, so when you talk about that, you know, because I want to say this, and I feel like I've never said this publicly, and I do want to say this. When you say that, right, and you think about how hard that must be as an artist to digest that loss, because it's a loss. It's like having this beautiful baby, and the baby grows a little bit, and then the baby dies. It's that traumatic for an artist, right? And I think that sort of death and the music sort of like not being heard and just not, it's people don't understand how traumatic that can be. You understand? So here we are with that trauma and feeling like, you know, that could have gone better. People like you who heard it, people even now who listen to Ex-Girlfriend, like, oh my God, I can't believe you were an ex-girlfriend. And it's funny because it's like a little bit of a resurgence, because I remember for a long time, there was no mention of Ex-Girlfriend. And now there's like all these people, and you know why? Because people are missing R&B music. Yeah. And it's this big gap, and now people are reaching for it, right? But at the time, it was a loss. It was a devastating situation for me. And I, for a long time, was very bitter and hurt and angry. And there was a lot of resentment that I had there, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I had to heal through that too, because I can't hold on to that and think, you know, there's no way I can hold on to that and continue to grow musically and as a woman and as a person. And so
I want to give thanks to Lou, and I want to give thanks to Paul, and I want to give thanks to Full Force for giving me that opportunity, because they did see something special in me and they did give me a chance. So there's no way it would be very wrong of me to be in an interview situation and say, oh my God, they dogged us out. Blah, blah. No, I wouldn't, I can't walk away from this interview and say that. They gave me a great opportunity. They, I went to places in the world that I could never have seen had it not been for the opportunity they gave me. I love the girls. It was a phenomenal opportunity to dance with them and sing with them. Of course, we all wish that it could have gone differently, and we all wish that, but it is our responsibility in this day and in present time to create a different reality for ourselves. An ex-girlfriend will always be a beautiful golden part of my life. And I will acknowledge it as that from now on, and not as something that was bad, but something that taught me and something that helped me grow as an artist, and something that I really loved in the moment. And yeah, there was heartbreak in it, but when it was alive, it was beautiful. Yeah. And so I want to give thanks to them for giving me that opportunity, because had it not been for them, there would have been this big gap. It could have been a whatever. We don't know. We wouldn't, obviously we would be talking about the phenomenal music that we did. So that is a part of healing, and that is a part of growth for me, because for a long time I was like, I don't want to ever talk about them, and they didn't exist, but they did. And they gave me, and it was beautiful. And they gave me a chance to shine and go on big stages that I never, would have dreamed of going on, even as a young girl. So I do want to take a moment to thank them for that.
Yeah, I mean,
and working with R. Kelly was epic. It's just like being in the studio with a legend like that was epic. It's hard to see what he has turned into, but boy, this man is one of the most talented artists that ever walked the planet. And so it was a blessing. We never saw anything that was inappropriate when we worked with him. He never crossed any line with us, and we were young, beautiful girls, and he was respectful with us, and we did some great music together.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, for someone like R. Kelly, I mean, spoken to Cassandra from Changing Faces. I mean, a lot of other groups who've worked with him. So and we focus on the music, and we recognize the talent, and then we understand the other things. The other side are things that not everyone would see or witness, but focusing more on the magic of the music, because the music stays a lot with us.
That's right.
After the album, because what thing is with like I spoke with Claude McKnight from Take Six.
We're friends on Facebook.
The thing is, because they were signed to Reprieve, but they were signed directly to the label, Warner Nashville, and they were handed a contract that was handed to most country artists, which is better terms and conditions than any R&B act. And one of the things that I noticed from what they because of that, unlike 90% of the artists who I've interviewed, they dealt with a white record executive who gave them almost a white contract. And unfortunately, I think a lot of our R&B acts were caught up with and this is not calling out any groups or anything. We're caught up in that industry of, okay, we got messed up when we signed, so we need to make ours back from this group, and then when you guys get established, you take yours back. And that seems to be the stuff that. Did you learn a lot about the industry?
Like this awful domino effect, right?
Awful domino effect. How much of that were you able to take? Because when after that second album, were you guys dropped by Warner, or did you?
No. We weren't dropped. I left.
Oh.
We weren't dropped. I left the group because at this point it was very traumatic, and my lawyer, who was the person that was getting us out of the contract and really helping us, he had a massive heart attack and died. And I was just like, this cannot get any worse. This cannot get any worse. And so when he died, we had done an album release party in New York City, and the producers of Mama I Want to Sing saw that album release party, and they asked me to come to London to star in the show. And I was like, yeah, I need to go make some money, and I need to get away from this because it's just so hard. And at that point, it had been 7-8 years of just 2 albums that didn't do well. And it was just like, I love the girls and I love traveling and I love doing the songs and stuff, but it was just like, this keeps going. I mean, when he died, it was hard for all of us. Like, we all felt lost because he was the one that was protecting us and sort of putting in those conversations to help change the contracts, and he died. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to go and do something else. And then it wasn't my intention to leave the group, like quit the group. I just went and did that show. And when I did the show, it caused a bad effect. So that's kind of where it went.
Okay. And so when you did the show, was it you went back to do it in was it back in New York you did?
No, I went to London.
Oh, you came?
I started
Okay.
in the West End on that one.
So in the
That's
90s, that's when you
London.
came to, oh, okay. In those 90s.
That's when I left New York and I went to London, and I lived there for about a year.
Okay. And so coming to the UK, doing the shows, did you feel like a sort of a release? Did it feel like a different? How was that environment?
Well, it was definitely it was unbelievable because Shaka was in the show, so all these massive stars were coming. Shaka Khan played my godmother, and Prince came to the show twice, and Luther Vandross came, and like all these massive stars from America came to see the show. I remember meeting Marvin Sapp. All these really amazing artists, and Prince, he came the first time. He came the second time. He actually invited me to come sing with him at the Emporium in Soho. So he would do his show in Wembley, and then he would do this night gig in the Emporium in Soho. And he had me, and I went and did that with him for like a month, like every night. Like, he'd just go to Wembley and then go to this thing, and I would hang out with him from like 2 a.m. to like 7 or 6 at this Emporium, singing one song, Sweet Thing, and like playing the tambourine for Prince. And then he flew me to Minneapolis, and I recorded some songs with him. And then and then after that, I came back to America, and after the show closed, I came back to America, and I did another show with the same producers called Born to Sing. I did that at Madison Square Garden, and then they did a smaller theater off Broadway called the Union Theater on 14th Street. We did that for a while, and then when I was in that, some Broadway producers asked me to come star in Smokey Joe's Cafe, and that's when I got my first Broadway credit. And I stayed at Smokey Joe's Cafe for, I think, about 2 or 3 years, and then I did Footloose. From there. So then I got caught in the loop of Broadway. So I did like 3 Broadway shows, and I was there for about 6 years. And then I did TV. I did a TV show, drama on NBC. Here is a massive network called Third Watch. And then I got like the TV bug of like, oh my God, this is cool. So I started acting, and then I moved to LA. I did a bunch of sitcoms there and did all the acting stuff. I started studying acting with Richard Lawson, who's actually Beyonce's stepdad. He's my acting coach for many years. And then I got a movie. I did a movie before that, like during Ex-Girlfriend days. I did a movie with Tom Hanks and Bruce Willis and Morgan Freeman and Melanie Griffin.
What movie was that?
And then it was called Bonfire of the Vanities.
Oh yeah, I remember Bonfire of the Vanities. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was in that movie, and then so then I did bigger roles in like sitcoms. I did many sitcoms, guest appearances, and Alex was just reminding me of when I came to London 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago, Alex? 2 or 3 years ago? I think it was 2 summers ago. I played a nun in a show. In the theater in the West, right off the West End. Say it again. Bear the Pop Opera. I did that, and then I did Aretha, and I started as Aretha in the musical called Respect. I've skipped so much stuff, but yeah. And then and that was with Adrian Grant, who produced Thriller Live on the West End. So I toured with them, and then COVID struck. And I was living in London for 3 years. But I mean, I got to go all the way back because I kind of skipped a lot of stuff. But then, okay, so I did I did the Broadway thing. I went to LA, I moved there, I did television. I stopped for a long time. Like after that, I had a baby and I just stopped. It was just like, okay, this is just disappointing. And then I did the X Factor. It kind of revamped everything again. Then I booked Celebrity Big Brother UK.
Ah, yeah,
Do you remember me being on that in 2017?
yeah, yes. Well, I think because Ray J was on it as well, was he not?
Yeah. Yes, he
Okay.
was.
Yes.
They snuck him in. I didn't know he was coming. By the way, I was in the kitchen or wherever I was when he came down those steps. I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. Because I hadn't seen him since that 2011 incident. And so when he came down the step, I was like, oh, this is some shady stuff right here. They brought Ray J in the house. I'm supposed to live with this dude. Oh my God, it was crazy.
So my last two guests, last week was Monifa, and the week before that
Okay.
was Brownstone. So both Nikki
Okay.
and
Yeah.
Monifa.
Uh-huh.
And I
Yeah.
hadn't watched them R&B D because they don't show it in the UK. So,
Oh, uh-huh.
but
Mhm.
both of them brought up R&B divas and different
Yeah.
things and stuff. And so, but your name
Yeah, I
was
mean, I
mentioned.
forgot about that. I did. Yeah, I did R&B. Oh wait, who mentioned me? Nikki?
Oh goodness. Oh, who? Because if they brought, was it Monifa? Maybe it was Monifa about the
Okay.
Whitney
Okay.
Houston situation. No,
Uh-huh.
because it was Monifa because she was talking about how the show got on. They picked up the show after the buzz around. They were trying to film a pilot
Oh, okay.
and that night and
Oh,
you
okay,
guys
okay.
were all at the
Yeah.
club and after that they picked up the
Yeah.
show and I couldn't
Yeah.
and so and of course I didn't put two and two together because I still remember the whole ish situation, but I never, it's hard to pinpoint
Yeah.
and broad. How
Yeah.
much of an effect was that on you? Because it's almost like that also brought you into the spotlight, but not in the same positive way as the X Factor
Yeah.
at the time. And I think I
Yeah.
saw you on CNN and different places, almost trying to defend yourself. How challenging was
Yeah.
that?
I wouldn't go into that conversation. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
I stay away from that topic because for obvious reasons. It's not. It was a dark time and I don't think it's very healthy for me to talk about
Yeah.
that and I don't want to.
Yeah, no, definitely no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
did you start to get friends with, there's because Nikki and all these people what?
Well, I knew Nikki from when I was doing the X Factor, there was a producer that knew Nikki, and I think I had gotten in touch with her a little bit, and she had like tweeted some things, and I knew she was from Brownstone, obviously, but I didn't know her before that, and so then that whole incident happened, and she was one of the people that was calling me, and like I said, at the time when I did the X Factor, broken pieces and broken parts of me and disappointments and stuff, and that creates a different kind of energy, and so then you attract things into you and incidents into you that only make things worse if you're not on a positive vibe and if you're not emanating light as much light as you can. So I think that's a part of it. You know what I mean? If you're walking around in fear and you're walking around in anger, then you're going to pull in those incidents that and create more of that. And so I'm really happy at this point in my life to have done a lot of work and a lot of healing. I lost a lot of friends, and it was obviously a very traumatic time for me. And it's not something that I think with so lightly having a conversation about so publicly anymore, because it hurt a lot of people. And my life was very, very shattered at the time and very changed by that incident. And my anger allowed me to keep talking about it and relishing in it and sort of repeating it. And at this point in my life, because I'm totally in a different space, I think it's healthy for me mentally. When you think about mental health, I think it's very mentally healthy for me to just talk about really wonderful things that occurred in my career and really amazing things and how amazing my life is now, with the man who really loves me and my family who really loves me, and how much healing that I've had to do. I had to forgive myself on so many levels when it came to that incident, because obviously, you know, it's 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 kind of silly to even say it, that could just damage someone, you know, and that whole situation was very damaging. And a lot of people got hurt. You know, she passed away. It was like very traumatic for a lot of people. So it's not so easy to go into a conversation about it. But I will say that through my own healing and through my own nonprofit work and the things that I've done to sort of make sure that I feel good about my life, and I do these things because I understand very perfectly how important it is to speak light and power into my life and into the power of others. So I don't engage in that conversation anymore. I think it's healthy for everybody.
Yeah, but I think one of the things that you've shown is the various bumps in the road, how you've come out stronger. And I think when we're dealing with a lot of us who are going through our daily grinds, we're not in public eye like you have been.
Yeah.
And sometimes it almost feels as if we're alone. And having you share, you know, your record deal with ex-girlfriend, then going on to X Factor, then having to deal with that, and still falling down, but still getting back up, and still being able to be shot. And I think that's
you start to. I'm going to tell you, you know, just for total transparency, and so anybody who's watching and listening can understand. When you take hit after hit after hit after hit in your life, right? And it's like loss after loss. Like, okay, the albums, they flopped. I mean, I could sit here and speak negatively about that thing, or I could switch my mindset and say, okay, that happened, but it was fun. I had a great time. We had great music. It was beautiful. It blessed a lot of people. People are starting to find out more about it now than they ever have. Like, it's crazy to think about how sort of revised ex-girlfriend has become in the last 6 to 7 months. I don't know what it was. I don't know what happened. I think somebody had an Instagram video and it kind of went viral, and then everybody's like talking about ex-girlfriend again. Okay, great. So maybe I need to talk to the girls about us going on tour and doing something else and bring us back alive again, right? So it's like, okay, there's more of a possibility to inspire someone. Or I could just sit and be like, oh my God, I can't believe we failed. And, you know, or I could just look at it from a positive view. So everything is about point of view, right? And then I could look and go, oh my God, I can't believe I lost the X Factor. Okay. Or I could look and see where I could take responsibility for why I lost the X Factor. What was I looking at? What conversations was I allowing into my life to make me think that I didn't deserve to win? What conversations in my own mind was I having, right? And then again, so I shift my viewpoint to, okay, what's the positive side? Then now on the other side of it, I could be talking to you and you say, oh, you inspired so many people to keep going. Okay, great. Now you got the incident with Whitney Houston. Okay, what do you say about that, Stacy? I don't say anything more about it. God bless her. She inspired me so much to be the singer I am today. I listen to her music. I love her, and I love her as much as the rest of the world does. And I'm so heartbroken and sad that we had that moment with each other, because we are both very powerful women and both powerful singers, and we are both powerful artists, and we both in that moment deserve more. Okay. So, but on the other side of that, it's like, here's my idol in front of me and I loved her. That's it. Okay. So it's like, okay, so how do I take all of these things that seem so bad and turn it around for the good? And how do I take it? And so what have I done? I've made music, really beautiful music. I have 4 or 5 songs that are all in the direction of good vibration, good energy, making people believe in themselves, knowing that they can make it, reminding people how powerful they are, and it's power of the words that come out of your mouth, how your words create your reality. This is a whole shift for me. Mm-hmm. And the reason that I walk so strongly in my walk, and the reason that magic happens for me every day so powerfully now, and the reason that I'm so happy is because of all the crap that happened to me. Because I had to go do the research and figure out, why did that happen? What happened? And not blame anybody else. What did I do in that situation that created that effect? How do I now walk in my life to make sure that the effect that I create on people is positive? That when I leave the room, people were like, damn, wow, that woman blessed my life. You understand? So I know that the powerful voice that I have when I sing and when I speak, and the effects that it creates, I know that I'm a powerful woman. I'm a powerful being. And I know that when I say something, it manifests. So if I know that about myself, then I have to take full responsibility for that power and make sure that what I say is good, what I think is good, what I know is good. And when that happens, my phone rings and I get a donation to my nonprofit. When that happens, my phone rings and somebody wants to buy Alex's art. When that happens, my phone rings and someone wants to produce a song with me. When that happens, you inbox me and say, hey, I want to interview you. Because now the universe hears that I've changed my mind, I've changed my speaking, I've changed my thought process, and I'm looking to help people. Because what the hell am I here to do other than inspire and help people? Nothing. That is my only purpose, right? And it took me all of that drama, all of the anger, all of the tears, all of the heartbreak, everything that I went through to get to this moment with you, to say to you and to your audience that if you can watch Stacy Francis go through all of that and all the drama and hear all the crap and and now see me today and me recognize the light that I am to this world, then you can do it too. That's it. That was the point of it. If I ever have to ask God why, then my answer is for you to set a good example, for you to understand that the way to happiness is to set a good example. The way to happiness is to treat others how you want to be treated. The way to happiness is to honor the people around you that are here to help you build a great life and nothing else. That's it, right? So all of these relationships that I've developed in the industry, all the bad rumors, all the good rumors, anything is all for the good. It has all been for the good. And if I can know that in my body and know that in my heart and know that in my spirit and know that when I walk out my door, that I am one of the most powerful singers, beings, people, women on this planet that can create amazing creates on people and can inspire people. If I know that, then all my art that I create will create that. Everything that I say is going to be something that when people walk away from me, they feel amazing. And that's the only thing I want as an artist. And it's my responsibility as an artist to do that. It's my responsibility to use my platform to inspire people. Because at this point in our lives, where we are, through all the hell we've been through, and when we look at what the media is doing and some of the communications that they give and some of the music that's being released, it is our responsibility individually to change it. And I refuse to be one of those people anymore that contributes to anything less than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's really powerful. And you know, and I think that's the one thing that we admire with artists is that you guys have so much power given to you by the creator, whether you're a painter or you're a singer or an actor.
Yes.
And sadly, not everyone uses that for the good. And especially what is happening with
that's right.
the music industry now is that the labels and people in charge are pushing out a lot of negativity and pollution and not feeding us love.
It's true.
Like we got in the 60s and the 50s and the 70s, lots of love, and
it's
80s.
True.
And
so, it's intentional. It's intentional. It's intentional. Let's not mistake it. It is intentional, right? But you have to know that. You got to take some responsibility as an artist. You know, everybody has some responsibility for the condition that they're in some way. You understand? Yeah. And so if we all see that, because you're like the 100th person that I heard say that. So if we all see that and we all know that, what are we doing about it? It's the question. And we can't fall into this victim like, oh, I don't know what to do. Because guess what? The universe can communicate with you. You can communicate with it. And you will know what to do. When I was so broken and torn apart and I was tired of being sick and tired is when I was like, okay, please, okay, I'm ready. I'm this is enough. okay, is when all of a sudden I started pulling in books and people and, you know, whatever, a YouTube video, or, I don't know, a damn sign on the bus, something. The universe started communicating with me in a way that I was ready for.
Mm.
Right? These are not mistakes. We all have the same power. You have the same power that I do. Everybody that's listening to me, that hears me say, I'm a powerful being, you are too. We are all gods walking around here on this planet. What are you doing with your godlike power? That's the question.
Yeah.
You're going to use it for your good, or you're going to sit there and keep being your phone all day looking at TikTok videos, trolling? What responsibility are you going to take? We all have the same power. We all come from the same dynamic, supreme being, whatever you want to call them. What we all come from that. We're all pieces of it, walking through on this planet, having this experience in the third dimension. Don't get me started on that kind of conversation, but that's where we are, right? Yeah. So how long are we gonna stay asleep? How long are we gonna pretend we don't know? You know. That gut instinct that tells you, your perception that tells you, your that thing that when you say, oh, I knew it. Damn, why didn't I choose something different? You knew. So trust yourself more. Stop invalidating. You know, when you talk about self-doubt and stuff, we don't come here with self-doubt. My babies, when they were little, I remember my daughter when she was 3 years old, I'd be like, oh my God, you're so cute. She's like, I know, right? If I ask her now, you know, if I say that to her now, she'd be like shy, like, So when did she change her mind? She changed her mind when she went to school and some fool in school told her she wasn't cute no more, right? So here we are. Self-invalidation is the accumulation of invalidations of others that you decided to agree with. Because you ain't coming here and validating yourself. You knew how powerful you were when you were 3, 4, 5 years old. 7 years old, walking around perception, knowing, feel like I'm a superhero. I'm gonna put my Superman outfit on. I'm a superhero. And then you go to school and some fool changes your mind. So stop listening to that noise and know who you are. And if you don't know, ask the universe to show you so you can start getting those signs. And when you see signs of, oh, this is great, I'm great, I know I'm amazing, start speaking those conversations to yourself instead of the other crazy conversations to yourself. I don't get into those conversations with myself anymore. I don't allow other people to talk to me like that either. Right? Because it's a matter of, when you talk about mental health, that's real mental health. The conversations you're having with yourself. Hello, somebody. You want to take my offering?
No, with that, I mean, I appreciate.
I know I just preached.
Yeah, well, you know, and it's good that you're saying this, and this is the part of the biggest part of why I do this. Really, is as much as I'm a fan of music and stuff, but I always try and use this as a space to inspire those who are listening, because we're all going for stuff, you know, things, the price of living is going out the roof. So hearing these type of things, especially those who Donnie McClurkin had, we fall down, but we get up. And that's very important. So that's the journey that you really said. I've fallen out many times, but I've got back up
many
again.
Many times, but I got up. I didn't have a choice.
And you keep getting up. And what about you? And that's, and you know, not, you know, I told you I started off by telling you how much my wife gets inspired by watching your audition and telling Simon, I'm not gonna this music. I wrote it down. I don't want to die with this music in me.
Music inside me.
That's how my wife. Right. So
I don't even know where that came from. That just kind of spilled out of my mouth.
Oh goodness! Now
I was like, "This is my moment,"
and
I was holding it. I was, if you look at that audition, you see me like with my microphone. I was like holding it for dear life.
Oh goodness! Who's the lady holding your baby? Because my wife said, I wonder who that lady is.
It was my cousin. Cousin Stephanie. It was my cousin Stephanie, who actually we were in New York for a while and we spent some time with her. Yeah, she's married to a man from Ghana and who was actually in London recently. And that was my cousin Stephanie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, because as I said, she always goes through each one and stuff, and
so nice.
Are you still singing Purple Rain in your arsenal of songs?
Yeah, I have to. People get mad if I don't.
Has Prince ever heard you sing it?
Who?
Prince, did he ever hear you sing it before he passed?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't. Those were later days. I worked with Prince in the 90s, so I didn't see him anymore after that. So I don't know. I mean, I hope he did. That would be nice to think he did. I don't know.
So what are we going to expect from you musically going forward? Because that is, I know you're doing the acting, you have your charity,
Yeah.
you're supporting Alex with his
Yeah.
art, but at the
Yeah.
core of it, you've always been a voice that you've been
Yeah.
given a
Thank you.
talent. So what can we
Yeah.
expect?
I have some really hot songs that I'm very excited about. I recorded a song about 2 weeks ago in New York with some producers there.
Wow.
And that actually worked with Rodney Jerkins, and the song is just fire. And I have another song that's called Hero that I'm very excited about, that I think I'm going to release at the top of the year. I definitely, I wanted to release like a 6-song EP, like right around Christmas and around the resolutions time, when people make resolutions,
Okay,
because
okay.
honestly, I've been listening to these songs and they just fire me up. They fire me up. They inspire me. I feel like, they make me want to do anything and anything. Like they make me feel like I can achieve anything I want in my life. So I want the world to hear them as soon as possible. So I'm very excited about them. I played them for someone yesterday, and he's a lot younger than me. He wrote me. He's like, I can't wait for these songs. They're fire. So, yeah, I want people to dance and be inspired and sing positive lyrics and sing good stuff to themselves. And it's a short EP. It's about 6 songs that I want to release, and I've titled it Empower Yourself.
Wow.
So yeah.
So the industry has changed where you can, you don't have to be signed to a label to grab the music, but then it has its benefits, which is you can get it out when you want, how you want it. But it has it's the fact that you don't have the actual engine to push it out. What is then the expectation as a independent artist when it comes to getting your music out? What is your sort of like, this is you make expectations as to what you expect?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I had a meeting with someone on Friday about that, because some of the songs that I have a song that I have 2 songs that are up for Grammy right now. And one of the songs is called We Stand Together, and another one is called Eco Echo. It's a tribute to Mother Earth. And those songs can be found on iTunes. And so I'm really excited about those songs. I am being considered for Grammy for those, so we're going to go to the Grammys in February.
You actually been nominated, Grammy nominated for those 2 songs?
For 2 songs.
Wow!
Yeah,
congratulations!
that's very exciting.
Wow, because
thank you so
a lot of people were doing for your consideration. So when you said, I wasn't sure but so actually you both got nominated in 2.
Yeah, I spoke to the Grammy committee on Thursday, and it's a special merit award. It's a category called the song for best song for social change. Wow. And my songs are definitely being considered now for Grammy win, actually, because it's a different sort of road than the regular regular songs. So they didn't announce them, and we were like all going like, why didn't they announce it? And so we talked to them last week, and basically the songs are definitely being looked at by the special merit committee.
Okay.
So I'm really excited about that. So we're going to go to the Grammys in February for that. In the meantime, I do have those songs, and I spoke to someone on Friday, and I was like, I cannot put these songs out and the world never hears of them because they are just so phenomenal, and that's the thing that happens. Like when you have like big songs like that and you want the world to hear it, if you don't have a major record label behind you, sometimes it's hard to get radio play or to sort of make sure that you in the UK hear it. Now I do have a relationship with Ace over at Radio 1.
Oh yeah.
So I might have him play it, but I don't know. I have some plans in mind to do a distribution deal with a company here in Florida, actually, that can get it on the radio and can get them played. So we are working on that mass distribution.
Okay. I mean, if the songs are already out on streaming services and on YouTube, do you have a video for them on YouTube or
the 2 songs I just mentioned?
Yes.
Yeah, We Stand Together, yes, has a video. It has over 1 million streams on Facebook.
Wow.
And it is on YouTube. I'll send them to you I'll send them to you when we hang up.
Yeah, so then because that's what my generation, so those of us who love the 90s tend to Very rarely do we go on Spotify, so we tend to listen to it on
Okay.
YouTube, and that tends to be
Okay.
how we consume our
Yeah.
music. It just seems like 'cause
Yeah.
we don't know how to do playlists and stuff. I'm speaking
Uh-huh.
general, but so if it's on YouTube,
Yeah, I understand.
yeah. So
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's definitely
okay,
on YouTube. I'll send it to you when we hang up.
okay.
Yeah,
So
it's very exciting.
yeah, well, congrats, and I look forward to pushing those out. So I always end my interviews by
Thank you.
asking my guests that if you were stuck in an elevator and you had a movie to watch before they get you out, in a way, what's your sort of favorite movie
That's
that you?
such a cute question. Okay, I love that question. Okay, my favorite movie of all time is The Matrix.
Wow, the first one.
Yes, the first one. The first
Okay.
Matrix movie is just so, it's so real to me in so many ways.
Yeah, no, you're right. You
You
are right.
know, and it's a really phenomenal film. I honestly, I've lost count how many times I've watched that movie. But that's my favorite. I just love the overall message of that film and how
Yeah.
powerful we are. I think I've spoken about that enough in this interview, but now you see why that's my favorite. You heard me talk, and you know why that's my favorite movie, because
Yeah.
I feel like it's so much truth in that movie.
Yeah, no, you are right, and then I think a lot of people see that.
Alex just yells out to me, "How about Twin Peaks?" Because he knows that I just, we won't even talk about that. Like, that's his favorite TV show. I'm just like, every time I get like some weird show come on, I'm like, this is some Twin Peaks stuff, Alex. I can't watch this. So
okay. Oh, that's a fair.
No, me and my family watch like movies every day. Like, we watch every night. We get together and we watch a movie. We watched yesterday. You know the movie Yesterday. Did you ever hear this movie
the guy with
Yesterday?
the guy who he woke up and he wrote the Beatles.
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Okay.
We love that movie too. That's a really cute movie. I laughed so hard at that movie. I love that movie too. That's really funny. So, and yeah.
Oh,
So we
good.
watched a lot of movies lately because we try to introduce like those kind of movies to my daughter, and my daughter knows like a lot of music because we introduce her to so much music, and she loves the Beach Boys, and she loves, I mean, she's just like so well versed and the Beatles. She loves the Beatles. So she'll be 12 years old on Saturday. So she's definitely a very diverse 12-year-old.
Well, I mean, it is good, and then I think the second part of the question then comes to what is your favorite all-time favorite song, not by any artist, by anything, your favorite, like your creme de la creme when it comes to your song.
There is a song. Oh my God, I can't believe that it's escaping me. It can't be my favorite song if I'm talking. Oh, there's a song by India Irie called "I Am Light."
Okay, I think
that I love. I am light, I am light. I love that song. So I've been on my path for just having really feel good movies and feel good music, and just things that I consume that I feel are like healthy soul food for me.
Yeah.
So I've been on that journey, I guess, for a while now. And I Am Light by India Arie is a phenomenal record that I love. And I suggest to most people that just, if you have a hard day, to just listen to that song. And that one. But I love Karen Clark Sheard. She was somebody that I grew up singing to. So I love a lot of her music as well. She's a phenomenal singer. I mean, songs, it's hard to be like, oh, what's your favorite song? Because to be honest with you, it depends on the mood that I'm in. Like I always have music in my ears or in my car, or depends on if I'm in a like dancey mood. Yeah. I'm like, Michael Jackson obviously is, I mean, he just has the beat of my heart sometimes.
What's your favorite Michael Jackson? What's your favorite Michael Jackson song?
I love oh my God, songs by him. Don't Stop Till You Get Enough is amazing. I love the Thriller album. I mean, what'd you say? Man in the Mirror. Man in the Mirror obviously is great. I mean, Michael, you can't go wrong with Michael. I was blessed to see his childhood room in Encino. I went to his house, and I love Michael. So it depends on the mood I'm in. Like, it's funny when my family's not with me, and if I'm going to meet them to pick them up or something, they hear me coming. Like, I'm down, you hear me like 2 blocks away, because I blast my music super loud with the windows down. I turn the air up if it's hot outside, as long as I can get like the air, like I need the music as loud as I can get it, So yeah,
well, music.
that's hard. I love music. So
Yeah, music
yeah,
is,
music makes me happy.
it does. I mean, my all-time favorite song, and the reason why is Michael Jackson's "The Lady in My Life," and it's such a
Oh, great.
I
It's a
love it
great
so
song.
much that I don't listen to it too often. I because I don't want to
Yeah. Does
spoil
it
the
make you
feeling.
cry?
Well, no, it's just so rich that I
Oh,
don't
okay.
like to listen to it too
Okay.
often. So like, so
It's so authentic, right?
yeah,
Isn't it so authentic when he sings and you hear him at the end, like cracking, his voice is
yeah,
crying. He's like, oh
yeah,
my God, it's such a great record. That's a great
yeah.
record.
So I mean, so he's my all-time favorite artist. And strange enough,
Yeah.
because you were singing a lot of Prince, and I grew up at a time when it felt as if you only had to you like one over the other. So I've
Yeah. Yeah.
never watched Purple Rain. I've never watched Grit Feet, any of
Right.
his, and
I
I've
can
never.
understand. I understand.
And I
Oh,
don't,
wow.
and
That's so
strange enough,
funny.
I don't like anything Prince, because I just the rock part was, and I like what you did with Purple Rain, but I just for Prince it just felt too rock, and I'm not too. I've never got
Yeah. I
into
understand
that,
that.
but yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but I know that he so so yeah.